So, budgeting for beginners. Where do we start? Budgeting for beginners, how to take control of your money. Do you ever feel like your money just disappears? Well, you're not alone. In this video, I'll break down why budgeting is life-changing and how you can create your first budget, even if you've never done one before. Many people don't budget because they feel it's too restrictive, but it's actually the opposite. It actually gives you freedom. Personally, I used to get stressed every payday before I budgeted. I remember being overdrawn by £2,000 and just not knowing where my money went every single month, earning sort of fairly decent money, and I just was really shocked. I just didn't know, where's my money going? I really didn't know. So how do you create your first budget? The first thing you need to do is track your expenses. Now here, I've done a budget video before on doing an audit. It should be up here for you to click on. But basically, you just need to go through 3 months worth of bank statements and just record all the expenses that you've got. So you have an understanding of how much is going out and how much is coming in. So record your income as well, and just understand how much is going in and how much is going out. Identify your fixed expenses versus your variable expenses. So your fixed expenses being like rent and your mortgage, any insurances that go out, like your council tax. And then your variable expenses, your food, shopping, gas, electricity, any fun money that you may have. Then you want to choose a budget method. Now, beginners' sort of entry point would be a 50-30-20, where 50% goes towards your needs, 30% goes towards your wants, and then 20% goes towards savings straight debt. So if you're in debt, you'd probably be wanting to be managing that debt and paying off as much of that debt as possible. Whereas if you're not in debt, then looking into saving that money in some way. There's also the zero-based budget. Get my words out. This is where your income and your expenses on your budget would add up to zero. That means that every single pound that has come in has been allocated. So that includes savings accounts and things like that. So it just means that every single thing that's come into that account goes on your spreadsheet or a notepad, however you're doing your budgeting, and adds up to zero completely. Now, this is a more advanced message, and it can be quite hard to manage because those unexpected expenses that you haven't sort of budgeted for can mess your budget up a little bit. But remember, your budget is adjustable. You can go back to it and just adjust the figures. Maybe you could spend a little bit less on your groceries because something else has happened. So it is very flexible. You could use budgeting tools. So there's apps out there like the Emma app. I've got a spreadsheet that I've linked down below that you could just download and use. There's no charge for that. Or you could just record it in a notepad, as I said. And then the key to this, when you first start, review this sort of every couple of weeks, maybe, just to see how it's going as you get feel and used to it. But then once you've got used to it and you're doing well with your budget, and you could probably just track it once a month, go through your expenses, just make sure everything's lining up, and maybe you would identify something that you've been spending on that you didn't realise and that could be cancelled or something like that. So definitely review that budget on at least a monthly basis. There's a few common mistakes people make when budgeting, and the first one is not leaving any room for fun money. You should have a line on your budget where there is some sort of fun money. If you do not do that, then it's very hard to stick to the budget because it will just be very boring. Bills, food, all those expenses, and save it. It just doesn't feel very good. So you just need to make sure there is some money there for you to have a little bit of fun with, basically. And then there's forgetting irregular expenses. So say you have annual payments. Say you pay your car insurance annually. So what you could do is you could add what's called a sinking fund onto your budget, where that payment divided by 12, and then budget that set amount every month. So that helps you, so that once you're due to make that payment, the money's already in the bank because you've saved it across the year. And also, people quit too soon. It might be hard when you first start doing it. It may feel boring, which it probably is a little bit, I don't know, but it might feel boring, but it takes practice, and you can just give yourself progress. I remember the first time I budgeted, I found £400 just like by sort of cutting stuff out that I didn't need in my budget. I found £400 on my first ever budget. So hopefully once you do your first budget, you will find a decent amount of money, and it might help if you've been sort of struggling with the cost of living so just don't quit too soon, basically. So if this video has helped you, then subscribe to the video. I'm going to be trying to release a video at least once a week on YouTube. I've also got videos going out on TikTok and Facebook. And drop a comment below. What's your biggest budgeting challenge? And I'll endeavour to answer all the comments. Thanks for watching.